Well, I'd say it's pretty clear that Messer Incorporated and Wendy have some pretty big problems. And I think ethics is really at the core of what this company needs to fix. Wendy needs to take some time and reevaluate herself. Um, she's she's got her mind in the right place as far as trying to do more with less and increase productivity. But the way to go about accomplishing that is to create an ethical framework that's known to employees at which they can buy into and become involved with. So the big question leads us back to the movie Invictus that we watched the scene that Morgan Freeman's character asks, how can we become bigger than how can we have our employees and those that we lead be bigger than themselves? Before that can even be addressed, Wendy needs to realize that she needs to just get basic productivity in order. Uh, we've seen when she's come and she's made radical changes that have really decreased productivity. What she needs to do is just get back to a basic uh, work experience, and then she can begin asking the questions of how, answering the questions how she can become a better leader and inspire others to perform better than they know that is even possible. Because right now they're not even giving her the bare minimum. Unethical companies, they might grow and they might grow fast, but they're not sustainable. So it's very important that an ethical framework is in place and that employees can buy into this. And so these values need to be drafted as soon as possible by Wendy. Uh, Having business ethics, it increases productivity and employee morale, and it helps complete work with honesty and integrity. Good corporate governance, it can't be understated. There needs to be a balance between management, stakeholders, and employees, through rules and practices. So these rules need to be established and put out there. Safety needs to be a number one concern, especially in a manufacturing environment. Um, and it comes back to having a code of ethics and sharing what your values are. But yeah, we've got to minimize accidents. You've got to encourage frontline employees and frontline supervisors to come up with safety suggestions because they are the closest ones to the problem. And as leaders, we need to listen to what those suggestions are, which she hasn't been taking that feedback, and that's a mistake. Um, Monthly safety meetings are important as a group. So as many people as we can get into a room, and we have a guest speaker speak about safety and just different TID points that can be given out to employees so that they can be really think about what they're doing so that they're acting in a safe manner. Uh, and stress is actually the key here. And when employees are under stress and leaders are under stress, it makes ethical decision making more difficult. So minimizing stress is extremely important. Um, she did not make the best decision in getting rid of the softball field um, because she does want to further expand, but right now she's not to a place where she can expand her business. She needs to at first bring it back to the company that it was before she can grow bigger. So if softball isn't what is getting everyone excited and reducing stress and having people really enjoy the work environment or the extracurricular portion of work, then we need to find something that can reduce stress that employees will enjoy, like maybe some frisbee golf in the area would be fun, or a park, a place people can walk and reduce stress. an area to exercise, that would be extremely important. Um, so bad ethical decision making, it creates public outrage, which is obviously bad for business and um, bad for the company as a whole. Um, Leaders can face lawsuits, possible jail time, and even if it's not Wendy that's acting unethically, without this ethical framework and without reducing stress, employees might act fraudulently, which has negative repercussions for the business as well. Uh, so stress, it basically impacts our moral actions. We get into either a fight or flight mode, and people tend to respond to stress with hostility, and they take a competitive stance against fellow employees and people that they're surrounded with. Uh, it's really important that corporate social responsibility is instilled here at Wowzer Incorporated. It, having a company that is acting in a socially responsible way, it's very attractive to customers as far as them coming in and purchasing your products. It helps attract good employees. A lot of employees love to work for a company that reduces waste. It instills green initiatives to try to make the world a better place. It also attracts investors as well. So Wowzer needs to seek to recycle, reduce waste, limit pollution. I think Wendy, she's got to fix herself first. Instill some philosophies of John Stuart Mill, basically finding out what's going to create the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people, and putting that in place. Treating people as people that are worthy of our time and attention, and listening is at the forefront of establishing an ethical framework. Immanuel Kant says it so beautifully, in treating people not treating people as a means to an end or a means to get what you want out of them. Obviously, she wants productivity and to become competitive in a global marketplace, but we can't treat employees as a means to get there. We've got to treat them as people first, and later they're going to want to accomplish the goals that are set before them. Comes down to also intrinsic versus extrinsic rewards. I don't mind, I like actually a bonus structure for mundane tasks, which I think there are many in a manufacturing environment. So we can create a bonus structure that is inspirational for employees to reach those levels. Now, for innovative tasks, when we're asking employees to think outside the box and be creative for the company, we can't throw money at them per se. We've got to potentially maybe give them 2 hours a week to just do whatever they want to do in their comfort zone, their stress-free environment. They can be playing frisbee golf or walking or exercising, and they're during this time developing an innovative thought for the company that can be reported back on and in a discussion that's held. Leaders, like we touched on this, they listen. Those that are closest to the problem are the best to fix them, according to Mary Fallett from chapter 12. I also would like to see, certainly in a manufacturing environment here, Six Sigma and Lean instilled, which basically minimizes waste. And in a manufacturing environment, there can be steps to a production that can be eliminated that can speed up the the overall process. So that, that should be done. I think this company should be doing more with less, but employees need to feel valued, and they need to be empowered. Certainly, these frontline and employees and supervisors to go ahead and instill the practices that can make this company more efficient through Six Sigma and Lean. I don't think profit sharing should be phased out. I think if we give every employee, even the janitor, a little stock in the company, just a little stock, that helps create buy-in for the bottom line. So basically, they're feeling connected with the company. Instead of stepping over a water hazard, they'll walk and put a caution sign in front of it because they're afraid somebody would slip and fall and potentially, sue the company, which would hurt their stock value. So we need to get buy-in. From every employee. We've got to hire great people. We've got to set realistic goals. You can't just come in and say, hey, I need 20% more productivity. Let's start with setting a goal that is attainable and reasonable, and once employees have hit those goals, we can start raising expectations incrementally to increase productivity. So the final nugget I'm going to leave is that it's very important to create interdependent relationships. Those are the best types of relationships. When the leaders of an organization are dependent on their frontline employees, and the frontline employees are dependent on the leaders of the organization, and together they grow and can prosper, that's a good situation for everyone. Thank you. This is the end of our presentation.